Jody
yeah,
to share your presentation.
Sharing right now. Can you confirm you see already the slides so I can start?
Yes, I can clearly see it.
So again, as we have only a few minutes to present this, I am not going to read all the proposal text, just going through the key points, so we allow as much time as possible for the discussion. Okay. What is about this policy? Well, today we have an MMT IRT object in the database in order for abuse reporting. However, a minimum fraction of the members are using it. I think in the impact analysis you have numbers of that, and I guess that Matvey will present it later. So what we want to do with this policy is the same that already are doing all the other regions, which is mandatory object for abuse reporting. We rename MMT IRT to abuse C, and then we ask AFRINIC to validate that every 6 months. If the validation fails, after 15 days, AFRINIC will get a notification so they can escalate to other contacts, because maybe they forgot to update the contact, maybe somebody in the company that was handling the abuse email leave the company and they forgot to rename the email, etc., etc. There are a lot of circumstances that make that happen. And in the policy, we state in additional information that the 6 months period and the 15 days validation period are periods that AFRINIC, according to operational aspects, can update in the future, just
mettre à jour à l'avenir, juste en rapportant.
Sorry, I am hearing French. I don't know if that was a question or what. I will keep going on. So the idea is that AFRINIC can update those timings according to operational experience and report it back to the community. Well, what else I can say? I think I have explained it basically everything. We are not saying AFRINIC when they should implement it. So they should decide when it will be possible. In a previous impact analysis, they stated that 3 months should be enough. Now they are saying that maybe about 6 months. We don't care about that. So the implementation is to AFRINIC when they have the time or the resources to do that. And what is clear for us is that the way to verify initially the contacts is as the staff can address escalation, because, and this happened already in AFPUB, maybe the first validation will be impossible to be done in 6 months. Okay, so if it takes 1 year, 1 year and a half, 2 years, it's not a problem. What we want to make sure is that the database is as accurate as possible, which is one of the main goals of the registry. Let me check if I have something else which is important. I don't think so. I think I have done everything. Yes, so just references. There is an equivalent proposal that has been accepted in AFPUB. It's already implemented. They had their meeting about 2 weeks ago, I think. They already reported that it's working fine. They have a big success in the rate of validation. They have already 87.5% validated, let's say, correctly validated contacts, which is incredible for a first round. I think that's amazing. Congratulations to AFPUB and LACNIC. The proposal is being implemented because it reached consensus just a few months ago. And one thing that I believe is very important to mention is, because this is the third time I do this proposal in a registry, of course, I learn from experience from the previous registry, so I can say that this proposal is even much better here than in the other regions. So you have somehow an advantage on that. That's it. Maddy, I think I need to stop sharing so Maddy can share the slides unless she sent to me. Let me check, and then I can share for her. Is Maddy online? Yes, I see Maddy.
Yes, I shared with you, Jody.
Okay, let me check my inbox because I didn't got. Okay, now I have the slides. Give me a second.
Thank you.
Okay, I need to share my screen again because I stopped sharing. Share. It takes a second. Yes. Share. You should be able to see them now.
Yes, thank you, Jody. Next slide.
Yeah. Coming.
So the impact assessments are determined by a group of staff. Collectively, we would go through the policy proposal and identify whether there are any ambiguous text or whether we need more clarifications from the authors for proceeding to assessing the impact on the internal procedures, on our systems, if coding is required, etc. And then we are able to determine as well as how much time the policy, if ratified, will take to be implemented. If we detect earlier on that it will take more than the time that the consolidated policy manual allows us to implement policies in, then from day one we will inform the authors. And as Jody has been saying, they are flexible sometimes, and we have it on record as well. So a phased approach at implementation is also acceptable. So as long as we make the commitments and we keep to our commitments. So regarding the abuse contact policy, so it allows it's requesting AFRINIC to implement proper abuse C contact and abuse mailbox. So it will impact the members. Jody, next slide.
Yep.
We have documented the impact assessment next to the proposal on the website. It's more detailed document there. There was one clarification request. So to the author, we are assuming here that the abuse C will not be mandatory for the resources in the WHOIS database that hold a legacy status. Okay, that's because precedents here, some community members have felt that some policies or the resource policies affect only resources that are delegated to AFRINIC members, and the legacy resources are usually kept out of scope of these policies. Next slide, Jody.
Yeah.
So implementing the policy, so will entail AFRINIC to update these procedures. One thing to note here is that this policy, if it reaches consensus, will bring in an improvement to the accuracy and currency of the registry data in our WHOIS, as well as in our internal systems as well. Next slide.
Yep.
So it will impact AFRINIC and WHOIS, especially for the WHOIS. So there will be a need to enforce the abuse C in the objects. Next slide.
Yeah.
And for MyAfriNIC, we will ensure that members will have a tool to enable them to implement the abuse C, as well as a tool to validate the mailbox as mandated by the policy proposal. These are the key elements that will have to be implemented on the MyAfriNIC member portal. Next slide, Jody. I think I'm done. So some statistics. Only these are in the table. These are the amount of INET-num, INET6-num, and aut-num objects in the AFRINIC WHOIS database. And as you can see, a very small number of these objects are protected by the MNT-IRT at the moment, which is the abuse contact. And a further analysis of the stats yielded that only 28 out of our total of 1,857 resource members, these stats are like 2 weeks old, and only 28 of members had adopted the MNT-IRT and ensured that it is reflected in their objects on the WHOIS. Next.
Done.
Done. Yeah, so the policy can be implemented within 6 months of last call on the systems, but an input from the member services is that to get the members to comply with the policy, it will take about 12 months, and we're planning to incorporate this in the current database accuracy interactions that we have with the members. Thank you.
Thank you, Matbi. So I am going through my responses. Some of them already I mentioned before. Very quickly. The period of validation, of the initial validation, it's clear for us that it's something that should be decided by AFRINIC, and this way they don't need new staff, but they can accommodate existing staff if they wish to the progress of the validation. Okay, so if it takes, instead of 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, it's not a problem. We just want at the end to be done correctly and have an accurate database. We have that in the additional information section, so it's very, very clear. The second point is about the legacy. Okay, the proposal is silent on that. And the reason it's silent on that is because the CPM does not state in any other policy if applies or not to legacy holders. As a consequence, I expect that the same criteria is applied for this proposal. The CPM, in my personal view, should apply to all. However, AFRINIC will have difficulties to enforce it for legacy holders. Okay, so we need to agree on that, and maybe this is a new policy proposal for all the CPM to decide what we do with legacy holders that have not signed the RSA and don't comply with policies. Can we do something? That's a different discussion, but the policy is silent on that, so the criteria adopted by the staff is good for us. Okay, the last one, I think, yes. I think it's the same I mentioned in the first one. It's basically redundant. It's just saying that we don't care about how much takes the implementation, how much takes the first pass. We agree that the staff should accommodate that to the available resources, are the board decision of get more resources or not, to make it faster, etc., etc. That's fine for us. And with that, I am done. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jody. I'll open the floor for contributors. Let's give the mic to the first in queue. Elvis. For French speakers, we have to give about 30 minutes, 30 seconds for them to align. So let's wait for our participants to begin contributing. If the participant cannot, we can take in the next, please. Do we have any issue with the platform?
To me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, good.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, can hear you, please.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Lucilla from Italy. I oppose this policy, first of all, because RIRs have no ability to define what is an abuse, and also the proposal does not offer a specific and regulated description of the term abuse, and this leads to even more reports, discriminations, legal issues, and this is a waste of resources for AFRINIC. And also, AFRINIC is not entitled, in my opinion, to force members to report abuses, since AFRINIC doesn't have the ability to identify what is considered an abuse. Thank you.
Okay, next. Can we have, there was someone already, okay. Elvis, if he's there, please let him present. If we do not have Elvis, I'm going to call another name because we are really.
Can't hear you.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Hello? Is that for me?
Yes, please go ahead.
Oh, okay, thank you. I think this should be mandatory and it should have been done long ago. It's needed for a safe internet operation in the region. As these identifiers are in use only because consumers choose to use it, we should be responsible, okay? And you should be reachable. And we should know exactly how you are going to respond to these issues. No one can respond it for you. So you must act in a very responsible way. In any case, why do we want to hide if we are running networks? You're running networks, you're supposed to be at the service of your end users. And that means that many things about contacts of you must be publicly known and verifiable. And so I think maybe we should make this truly an obligation, and we can forget the name abuse or not abuse, or the label doesn't matter. The point is that if something is not going the right way, you must be reachable and you must be responsible enough to show your face. Okay, otherwise you're not really running a network. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Can we please have, I think let's be fair, we have a large queue here, and I want to see that we are fair to everyone. KK, you've been participating. Can we please give a lady Beatrix? I hope. Beatrix? Okay, so we can't hear Beatrix. I'll just go down. Can we please have Precious Paul?
Okay. Good morning. Yeah, can you hear me? Good morning.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, my name is Precious Paul, and from Nigeria. So from the policy, from the things I mentioned above, the points I mentioned, it's showing me that they'll be pouring out more resources out, and then it's not actually good for the community. So I want to say that the organization should be used at other policies. These things should be put into other policies, because pouring it out into a particular one, it's not going to really help us. So I'm not supporting this policy.
Okay.
Can you hear me? Yes, thank you.
Okay, thanks. KK?
So my concern is that there is no guarantee when to actually check the mailbox, and even if we do check it, I see no built-in accountability mechanisms that would actually make sure that they do anything about the abuse. And I don't think that it's AFRINIC's duty to police this, and I don't think they should be involved at all in the matters concerning abuse. In addition, I think that some members can use this policy to create conflict on purpose and promote their personal agendas. And for these reasons, actually, I oppose this policy. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I think our time is up. For now, I will request the Jody to respond. Thank you.
Okay, I tried to take notes on all the questions. There was one question I really cannot understand, so I hope it can be clarified in the list. The first one is definition of abuse. I responded this morning to this on the list already. Any operator knows perfectly what is an abuse. Anything against your network that you didn't authorize that is an abuse. Okay, that's clear. There is no other reason to define that. This policy is not forcing the members to report abuses, not at all. What the policy is doing is making sure that the members have an abuse mailbox. While we don't have this, what it means is that the cost of the abuse is taken by AFRINIC. Must be already explained that they are getting all the abuse reports from all the world. This is insane. There is no meaning for that. Okay. The additional problem that this creates, the lack of a mandatory abuse, is that AFRINIC addresses are being filtered by more and more networks because the lack of abuse contacts. If you do nothing wrong, why you want to hide? Having this is for your benefit. Your network will not be filtered. If you want still to don't cancel your account with a bad customer, that's your problem. but at least you need to have the opportunity to receive the report. There was a mention about an accountability mechanism to make sure this works or something like that. Well, this is working in 4 other registries. So it's working. It's not fantasy. It's there. And the last input that I catch it from the chat, I am trying to also read the chat at the same time. There is a mention about we cannot enforce this because this is different in country to another country. Well, internet is not in the scope of governments, fortunately. Abuse are cross borders. So yes, the responsibility to make the proper usage of the resources is from the registry. This is in the contracts. If you are misusing the resources, and that includes allowing your customers to do abuses to other customers, even from other regions, that's against the contract. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jody. I'll give, okay, I don't think there was anything key. Our time is really moving fast. We're supposed to be done right now. So based on what has been shared from members in the queue and also in the chat, we're going to let's come back to you on this one. Just give us 1 minute. Okay, we'll get back on this. So our request will take time to process what has been given and the discussion. So at this point in time, I would request that we move to the next policy, which is RPKI, ROAS for unallocated and unassigned AFRINIC address space. So
I am trying to share the slides, but it's not working. Okay, now. I guess you can now see the slides. Can you confirm?
Yes. Yes,
okay,
I can.